I'm sad.
Oh no, why are you sad?
Because the direct happened and I wasn't fully satisfied.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
so I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I just had to get it off my chest that I'm sad. I got my
Mike,
tears here.
Mike, that is perfectly fine. You be sad over there about Nintendo not satiating your needs. They never really do though, am I right? I'll be sad
Yeah.
over here that my two robot overlords have broken up and are now non-existent. God bless Daft Punk. So sad.
I saw you posted something on Instagram about that.
Yeah. All I'm
I
gonna say
said,
right now is if you're following my Instagram, be prepared. There's just going to be nothing but Daft Punk love because yes, I in all honesty am very sad that they did decide to split part ways, whatever, after 28 years. Oddly
I was
enough,
about to say that yeah, they've been like a band or whatever for a very long time.
I'll call myself out here when they released that little graphic of like the two hands together that formed like that triangle shape and it says like 93 to 2021. I was like, "Oh wow, I never even thought of this, but that's like my age. Like I'm going to be 28 this year." So I was like, "Wow, they've been around since I've been around." Interestingly enough.
Yeah, and now I just feel blue. Daba dee daba da.
Mike, they didn't do that song.
Who am I thinking of?
That's
Oh,
Eiffel
that's I
60
was
something.
55.
Yeah.
Well, I'm. Let's just pretend I didn't say that then. Oh no, that's right. Daft Punk did that one more time song. That's what they did. That's
Around
right.
the world. Yeah, and they did one more time. Yep.
Yeah.
And then, Get Lucky. They did the whole score for Tron Legacy. They got some good creds. They worked with The Weeknd a little bit before they parted ways. This Kanye, our other god, Yee, well, our president soon, but he sampled that. The song's just called Stronger, right? Yeah.
Like, I think so. Is that the one where it's just like them saying words over and over again?
Work it harder, make it better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in all honesty, it's really sad. I feel like in my life, like this is one of the first bands that I really followed, like just getting into music when I was like a teenager, that actually like split up or kind of just had to like break up. The second closest example I could say is a few years ago when Chester Bennington unfortunately committed suicide. But I don't necessarily think Linkin Park is done. I haven't really checked in on Linkin Park honestly. Besides they released like a year ago a really cool like 20th or something anniversary, and there's like all these cool like remixes and like original songs that they didn't like release. It's really neat. But yeah, and I had an inside joke with my girlfriend that I've probably been making since I first started dating her in 2015, where I was just saying like I emphasized to her how much I like Daft Punk, and she eventually started to learn. And I was like, one of these days, Megan, they're gonna release that next album, and it's gonna be fire, and I'm gonna be like exploded with hype, like, oh my god, yes, let's go. Because a lot of their albums took a lot of time in between. Like I think almost all of them were at least 5 to 6 year gaps. But yeah, you know what? I said my piece. I'm very upset about it, but I mean I kind of got over it now, but it still is very sad to me. But like I said, I am just going through their whole discography. I mentioned a few podcasts ago that I was like trying to get into new like artists, but now it's like, nah, out of respect, I just have to keep listening to Daft Punk. And I'm finding new songs that they made or they like produced that I've never even heard of. They're just like bops, man, and I'm just like,
Don't you love that?
it's so good. I love
Yeah,
it.
but there's still times where like I'll listen to some classic rock that I love. Like I mean like Zeppelin and stuff, and I just think I never heard of the song before. And then when and it's like amazing.
It's one of the best feelings. And honestly, I don't mean to get too like spiritual or like hippie talk here, but music really does affect you. Like as I was driving from and to work today, I was listening to a bunch of different Daft Punk songs, and they were really like getting in my heart and giving me like good feelings. I don't know, maybe it's just because they also just broke up and I was sad about it, but music really can impact you in a way that's quite magical.
And that's definitely a very true statement. Music has a lot of crazy effects on people, you know.
But yes, very sad about Daft Punk. But I really don't have much else to talk about in terms of like what I did last week. We actually have quite a bit of news stories. If we just want to move into that, did you do anything you want to mention real quick, Mike?
Well, in the past 5 minutes, I've gotten Eiffel 65 and Daft Punk mixed up, so that's kind of embarrassing.
That's okay. In the 90s, that kind of, and early 2000s, that music was starting to really blossom.
Yeah. Let's see, what did happen? Unfortunately, just me working a lot. Like, just again, I mean, you know, second verse, same as the first. Just, you know, me having another pretty long week. Well, here's a bit of I guess a sad story. So we ordered some new furniture for the house, and because of, you know, the pandemic and all that stuff, you know, blah blah blah, it's all in back order, and it's going to take longer than usual to get delivered. So we were very patient, and we're finally getting in half of the furniture that we were requesting. It was the basement furniture, which is just like a nice long sofa. It's like a 3-piece like sofa. It's kind of like a big sofa with, I think they're called like a chase, which is kind of like the elongated like all right, like a lounge seat that's part of your sofa, and then there's an ottoman. So we were really looking forward to it because the basement is somewhat like hollow right now. Like, we're kind of just still using it for like decoration storage and everything, but you know, we definitely want it to be more of like an extension of the living room, because like that's where like my big TV is, and my Switch, and I was thinking, I can't wait to make it more of like a lounge area. That way,
almost
if people
like
come over,
an entertainment room or something, right?
yeah, so that way, if people come over, they can all hang out downstairs and like watch TV, like, or even if it's just me and Amanda, you know, it'd be kind of like fun to go down and cuddle and watch TV on that, as opposed to being up in the living room, you know, or that way you can do either or. But especially in the meantime, because the living room furniture is going to be coming in late March, so we were looking forward to getting the basement furniture. It was supposed to come yesterday, and Amanda and I were both very frustrated because we got like text messages, because they had both of our phone numbers like as like contacts, and we got a text message saying, "Oh, your order is going to arrive between like 10:30 and 12 or something, or 10:30 and 1:30, I think." So, of course, Amanda was home yesterday, and you know, she said like she'll be fine, you know, by herself, like when the people come and everything. And around like, what was it? Maybe around like 12:45, I didn't really hear anything. And so Amanda calls me, or she texts me while I'm at work, and she says, "Did the movers call you or anything?" And I'm like, and I texted back, "No." And then I noticed, oh wait, I did receive a text message like about an hour ago. And so that's like around like 9:45, and they said that it was oh, your order is expected to arrive in the next 25 minutes. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Did they arrive early? And then, unfortunately, I mean, Amanda said no, they never showed up. And, you know, I guess she checked, because the original text message had like a tracking number on it. And I'm looking at it, and we were stop number 8, and they said that we are currently at stop number 9. And so immediately I'm thinking, like, holy crap, did they like stop by the house and like just barely knock on the door and then took off, thinking that we weren't home or something? Because there was a status of why, like, it basically said like move or could not be done, or work could not be done. And so Amanda and I were both freaking out, like what the heck, like what happened? And apparently after giving them a call, like calling like the dispatcher and everything, what happened was, I guess because of the snow, the way the cars are parked on my street, they said that they couldn't make it down my street.
Oh.
But then I'm thinking, like, they really didn't think to call us to let us know? Like, I mean, granted, like, we got the text message saying that they were going to be, like, arriving early, I guess. But, like, did they just come here? And apparently they took pictures of the street to, like, send to their boss saying, yeah, we can't make this turn. Like they didn't even say that they could fit down my street because they clearly could. They've delivered furniture to my house before, but they said like because of the way the cars were parked, I guess because of the snow, we can't make the turn. And I'm thinking, yeah, but why didn't you guys call us? You know, we could have had you guys maybe park on a side street and then just walk the furniture up. It's not that far of a walk.
Yeah.
So just to wrap this up, Amanda and I were pretty livid because now we are expecting the furniture to be redelivered on Tuesday, as in like a week from today. So we're pretty bummed because we were really looking forward to getting this new furniture, but unfortunately we have to wait a whole nother week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's those guys were definitely lazy. They could have. Yeah. You're 100% right. They should have just called you. Yeah, you guys could have walked it down.
Like that's my biggest thing is if they just called and said, "Hey, we're here, but we can't make it down your street," but they just took off. And I think they said, "Oh no, they did call us." And I told Amanda, I'm like, Amanda, I have no recent calls on my phone. Like they didn't call me, and it sounds like they didn't call Amanda either. So I think we
had the wrong number.
Well, they clearly texted to me to the right number. So I think it's just a load of BS. And the guys just said, "Oh, we don't feel like trying to make this." I guess again, like if you can't make the turn with your moving truck, I get it. But why don't you call us? And I don't know. That was the biggest thing is just the lack of communication. Because then even the dispatcher didn't call us. You know, like I only called them after I checked the tracking and realized that they skipped us. So anyway, that was my my little rant for this week. Ugh.
You should go get some of that snow and make little snowballs and put them in your freezer. And then when they come over after they deliver the furniture, you pelt them in the truck with snowballs.
And actually, I was about to say I'll wait for them to leave the house after the furniture has been delivered. Yeah. Then I'm gonna kind of like Elf, like Will Ferrell in the Elf movie. I'm just gonna like machine gun them with snowballs. And I don't even care if I hit them in the eye.
Oh, he means business, guys. Stay away.
Oh yeah. Hey, mess with my furniture. Better watch out.
I was gonna say, do people like, you know how people will like name cars? Do you think people like name their pieces of furniture?
I don't know. I'm gonna assume if they do, it's probably like farmer names. Like, oh yeah, this over here. This is old Bessie. She's been real good to me. Hasn't failed me yet. And this love seat over here, that's Wilbur.
My couch is definitely a Duchess.
A Duchess. Oh, my little Duchess.
But with that being said, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Level With Me podcast, episode 85. You know who it is. It's me, Game Bro Corey, and it's Mike, aka the Collector's Vault. We're back at it again. Another wonderful edition of the Level With Me podcast, packed full of some great news stories. Yeah. I don't have a good transition. Mike, say something.
I hate Bob's Discount Furniture.
You were supposed to say something.
I did say something.
No, just the word something.
Oh, the word something. Oh, so not only am I blue dabba dee dabba da, and I'm upset about my furniture, I'm just not funny. Man, I'm really killing the vibes here. You should just get a new co-host.
Luckily for you, Mike, the Level With Me podcast is the #1 not funny podcast in the world, so we're hitting our quota quite well, actually.
Oh, don't say that. That's the Joe Rogan podcast, and you know it.
Oh, man, I swear I almost had a story to talk about one of the Joe Rogan podcasts. Let's forget about it. Who cares about him?
Yeah, moving on.
He's irrelevant. You know what's very relevant? Video game news. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to feed you some of the latest and greatest video game news stories of the week. We had a very, very strong, packed week. We had the Nintendo Direct from last Wednesday that we're going to review and go over. Mike already previewed it with his salt and his tears. And then we got some other cool stories. BlizzCon surprisingly happened over the weekend. There's some announcements from that. I honestly wasn't really following it, so that'll be a surprise to me as well. But first off, let's start out with a fun one. Yeah, you can't go 1 year, Mike, without this happening at least once. That's all I have to say. Chicago lawmaker proposes bill to ban sale of violent video games like GTA 5. Carjackings are on the rise in Chicago, and as a result, one local lawmaker is proposing a bill that could potentially ban the sale of violent video games in the city altogether. As reported by the Chicago Sun-Times, Democrat Representative Marcus Evans Jr. has introduced a bill that will amend the city's 2012 law that prevents the sales of violent video games to minors to be expanded into full ban. HB 3531 will take a ban that applies only to people under the age of 18 and expand it wholesale. According to the summary, HB 3531 amends that the violent video games law in the Criminal Code of 2012 changes provisions that restrict the law or rental of violent video games to minors to prohibit the sale of all violent video games. As a part of a growing concern over the increased rate of carjackings in the city, the lawmaker is proposing a ban on games like Grand Theft Auto. You know what, guys? He's absolutely right. Why on earth have these violent video games in people's hands? They must go. Clearly, there is nothing else causing this other than some guy sitting on his couch playing Grand Theft Auto all day or a day. No movies, no Netflix series, no music, no art, no books, none of that. None of that could be causing this.
Yeah, no horrible policies in this in this terrible. I hate saying it, but like I cannot believe. I love how they try to blame the city's terrible crime rates on video games of all things. I think there's been plenty of studies done that do show that there is no evidence to show to verify that violent video games cause people to be violent. I think there's like multiple studies that have been done over the last like 20 years.
Multiple.
Ever since ever since games started getting like bloodier and stuff. I guess like in like the PS1 N64 days. Like there have been studies back then because of like all like the gun games and everything, and they said like there's still no evidence to prove that causes people to be more violent. If anything, this is a way for people to kind of like satisfy that little like primal feeling in their bodies. Because like let's be honest, if there's like ever a fight in the street, what do people do? Do they try to break it up, or do they go fight? Like they like seeing that kind of stuff. That's just being human. So like video games are a way for us to kind of like satiate ourselves with that kind of stuff. Obviously, it's to a degree.
That is a great point, and I absolutely agree.
That's my scientific rant.
And yeah, video games have like always been the scapegoat of all these like horrible incidents since like the 90s or the 2000s. What's up, Mike?
Oh, there you are.
Oh, did you lose me?
No, I'm sorry. For a second there, I did. And I was a little concerned. I'm sorry. Now you're back.
Okay.
My apologies.
No, I was like going off on a tangent, and you're like, "Oh, Corey," and I'm like, "Wait, what happened? What do you need? I'm right here."
My bad.
But yeah, every time I see these, it like immensely frustrates me. Even I know I'm a big like video game fan, but like seriously, like why do they always just look at this one element just because you can control it? Yes, you're right. Pulling the trigger on my DualShock 4 is exactly like holding an AR-15 and shooting people. It's virtually the same thing.
Man, I should really never play Yoshi's Island ever again, because God forbid I go out and start eating people with my long tongue.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And God forbid I ever play Star Fox, because I would hate to shoot my spaceship at buildings.
Yeah. I definitely don't want to play Donkey Kong 64 because he has a coconut gun.
Yeah, and orange grenades.
Oh, yeah. Yikes. Careful what you say. The Chicago lawmakers might come here.
I ain't afraid of them.
I do want to end on the intelligence statement, which is from the Electronic Software Association. IGN reached out to them for a comment about this proposed bill, and they had to say, while our industry understands and shares the concerns about what has been happening in Chicago, there simply is no evidence of a link between interactive entertainment and real-world violence. We believe that the solution to this complex problem resides in examining thoroughly the actual factors that drive such behaviors rather than erroneously ascribing blame to video games based solely upon speculation.
Oh, very well said. Clap.
Bravo.
Clap.
Look at that. They use their brain and go, huh, why not instead of just blame something, look at what could go. Frustrates me every time, guys. Let's move on. Hang on. Behind the scenes here. Gotta send Mike the news story. Okay. All right, so before we get back into video games, we like to talk about like media, like movies, and like upcoming series every once in a while. You know, kind of just.
I love movies.
Yeah. Who doesn't? I mean, you can't go see one in a theater. Now you can just sit in your home. Huh? Why do we go to the movies again? Anyways,
because the popcorn, Corey. Come on, it's all about that popcorn.
It's a shame that it costs $20 a bag, but yes, last week.
But gosh darn, it's worth it. Come on.
Okay, it is really good. You got me. If I could, I would buy that bucket every time and eat all of it and feel awful halfway through the movie, or sometimes even before the movie started.
Oh, it's the best feeling in the world. You get that sick feeling. Oh, the movie's starting. Cool.
And then you have your Dr. Pepper to help it feel even worse. Okay. That was for no one. Last week we talked about, or 2 weeks ago, I don't remember. The Zack Snyder cut of Justice League that's coming along. I believe there was a trailer for it. I actually didn't watch it. And I think there's been like a lot of new like screenshots going around. Mm-hmm. One in particular is another look at our good friend Jared as the Joker. This one's a little weird. So the image that we're looking at right now is actually very similar to the one that we looked at before. It's in black and white. It literally looks like it's in the same room. It's just shot at a different angle and has one more extra element. He's wearing like a straight jacket essentially, but he's not tied up. He's like hands are free and whatnot. He's got the long hair. He's got the somewhat looking just Joker makeup on. But the piece de resistance is he's wearing a crown of thorns and kind of like looking up as like he's being raised to the heavens, or just mainly just looking like Jesus, like a Jesus allegory right here. What the fuck is going on with this? What?
Oh, I thought it was Santa Claus. You know, the guy that we celebrate Christmas for.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah,
that's Santa Claus, right? Not this Jeebus guy.
I thought Jeebus, we only like ate and drank his flesh.
In all honesty, yeah, this is a very unusual picture.
I say I didn't watch the trailer, but I have no idea what's going on here. This kind of just seems like it's almost just here to just, you know, create like a impact
to mess
like,
with you.
Oh my God! Did you believe what they did in the Zack Snyder cut?
Yeah, like what is this? And the thing is, it causes confusion, and then it's just that's all that matters. You know, people just get all riled up and get speculating, and then it trends on Twitter. So hey, it worked.
Hey, I'll tell you this much: if they did this too, to again just have it be trending and people talk about it, it's working right now. We're talking about it on the podcast. You know,
it's interesting that it's Jesus, because there was definitely a lot of parallels of Superman being like Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, it's funny. I didn't really notice them until like someone made a video about it, and they pointed out like the 8 times that the movie had made like almost like blatantly obvious references that Superman is Jesus, and it's like really like weird. Like it's like almost like shocking. Like I never noticed these little like parallels that they were like inserted into the movie, like hidden crosses and everything. Like it's kind of strange. So maybe that's another thing that Zack Snyder was doing, where he wants to kind of, I mean, maybe this is almost supposed to be like a farce that like Joker thinks he's Jesus, which is obviously, you know, very like inaccurate, I guess. But maybe in the mind of Joker, he is like, you know, like the savior for people who believe in chaos. I don't know. I'm getting very I'm getting a little too deep into this.
I'm worried that like this one image could, and just this idea could potentially have ruined whatever they were going for. But I don't know, man. First of all, I'm going to say this movie, I don't really care about it, so who cares about my opinion?
You don't care about the Snyder Cut?
No.
Nah, whatever.
No.
I do want to see it, because I did not really enjoy the Justice League movie. So if this is, but that's again because of all the not the retcons, like Zack Snyder being fired and then having all different people come in and like mess around with it. So I kind of want to see if this is his vision. Let's go. I want to see it. That's kind of how I look at it.
I will sit back and wait to see what people who watched it thought of it, and if they say good things, I'll probably check it out because I do like a good superhero movie.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing when it comes out. We'll swerve back into video games, but kind of related to the big screen, I guess. This one was also very weird. There's a lot of weird news stories this week, in conjunction with all the big news stories. But anyways, Frogger Game Show series coming to Peacock. NBC's Peacock streaming service is bulking up with a new game show based on the classic arcade game Frogger. Announced Tuesday, the Frogger Game Show will supersize the classic frog-hopping, traffic-dodging courses from the classic games and pit contestants against one another for cash prize. The competition will feature 12 different obstacle courses dubbed crossings, forcing contestants to dodge treacherous traffic, leap over snapping gators, and hop over hungry hippos to conquer the course. So it's just like Wipeout or Most Extreme Elimination, Ninja Warrior a little bit, but then it's just got a Frogger aesthetic.
That's actually kind of funny. And the first thing I'm thinking of is like Wipeout, where like you just see people getting like pummeled by all these like giant cushions, like these obstacle courses and everything, and then they fall in the water. Good times.
I hope that all the contestants have like ridiculous like frog costumes on the whole time. If they don't,
I would love that.
If they don't, they just ruin the whole show.
Yeah, I'm only watching it for the costumes.
Think about it. That would be hilarious.
Yeah. I actually, it was funny. I'm getting reminded. I mean, I know this is a bit off topic. I'm getting reminded of that one game show where like it was like a game show I think on Nickelodeon for kids, and like they basically had like answered trivia questions, and I want to say it wasn't about video games, and but then at like the very end there was like the winner can do like one final challenge where he gets to choose an arcade game and play it, and I think there were video game mini games in between like the trivia questions. I cannot think of the name of this game show. Maybe you can help me out here, Corey.
I also remember this game show. I think it's just called Nickelodeon or Nick Arcade or something. I'm looking it up right now. Arcade. Yeah, it was just Nick Arcade.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know when you watched this, but I didn't watch it when it was airing. I don't actually know when it aired, but there used to be a channel on TV back in the day that was just all the old Nickelodeon like live action game shows, and that's where I ended up watching a lot of episodes of this. And yeah, it was a weird concept.
Yeah, I just remember like I always remember like the prizes were it was always Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, because the game was just so like
I was gonna say
hated that game.
I was going to say a lot of the prizes I remember being like Toys R Us, like shopping sprees. And it's like, yeah, the 90s Toys R Us. Yeah, I want to go there.
Oh, yeah. That definitely were. Yeah, that was definitely a thing, too. And I also remember like the game show host would have like a copy of Castlevania 2. And like, and you guys can win a copy of the Castlevania 2 game for the NES. And it's just because it's funny because it was always Castlevania 2 because there was just so many copies of it that people didn't want because the game was just that difficult. So
how are they going to know to crouch at the rock and have the tornado pick them up?
And then even when they do that and half an hour passes and it's like, oh wait, I needed a crystal and to do that? Darn it.
Simon's Quest, the original Dark Souls.
And in a way, yeah, but not for the reasons why you think it is. Because I mean, I think the game is difficult, but it's just like it's completely just like it does not tell you how to beat the game. Like so, you have and let's be honest, how would you ever know to use that to do that at that like you kneel at this cliff and a tornado picks you up if you have the certain crystal. And I think their argument was always, well, did you buy the instruction manual or did you buy the manual? It's like, well, no, why? Like, I shouldn't have to. And to be fair, I think even like Zelda has a bit of that as well. Like the game is so hard and like there's so many things that you would never know to do this, but it's like, oh, if you have the manual, then you would know to do it. So
I got two little tangents about that story. One, oh my god. Did I lose it already?
Oh no, was it an old game? I'm trying to help remind you.
I'm just gonna move on to the second point because I don't want to have too much dead air.
Sure.
I was gonna say about the instruction manual. Oh, now I remember it. Look, I jarred it now. So my initial first point is, yeah, there actually are some points in Dark Souls that are very vague and obtuse like that. Like, you actually do have to, there's like a big like bird's nest you can go to, and one of the options is to like curl up into like a little ball, and you can sit there for like 15, 20 seconds and it does nothing. And it's like, well, what's the purpose of this? But if you wait like just the right amount of time, eventually like a big raven will come like pick you up and take you somewhere. But there's no like hint that tells you to like wait there, you know.
But is that like necessary to progress in the game, or is that just like a little Easter egg?
It's technically like a secret area, so you got me there.
I mean, yeah. I mean that is still a good example. But I mean, just like with these old video games, like they were just so like as you said, vague and obtuse, and just like it's one thing when a game holds your hand. I hate that, but like this is basically like unless you literally. I mean, I can't even say unless you're just bored and have nothing to do. Because again, like, what would make you think to do that? It's so random, I guess.
And it's like you can tell how much games have come nowadays because there would have been a sign there, or there would have been an NPC that's like, oh yeah, kneel before the grave, and something will happen.
Well, and that's the funny thing because that was a game that did have NPCs that you can talk to. Like, like I will give Castlevania 2 some credit. It was like the very first non-linear like Castlevania game, like I guess like the first Metroidvania Castlevania game, but but all the NPCs would like rarely tell you anything of importance. That's why it was kind of like that's why it's like silly, like if there was an actual NPC in like the nearby town that says kneel at this cliff, okay, then that's at least there's something there, Another good example is again in Zelda is like grumble grumble grumble. Oh, of course, yes. That translates to I must go find this really expensive item, which is like a piece of meat. Like that's like I don't remember. Again, I never played Zelda fully. Like, isn't that item like on the opposite side of the map too?
I'm pretty sure.
In like a hidden shop. Like, how would you know to go buy that? Like, it's just so random. But again, if you bought the manual, it would say, "Oh yeah, that's
Mike,
what you gotta do."
I got the answer for you. Drugs.
Miyamoto, you done it again.
All right, but before I forget my second point, I wanted to just say, with the talk about the instruction manual, I think it's funny how like now no video games come with like the nice like little booklets that are colored and have details unless they're like a special collector's item. But
I miss them so much.
But today I had to get a dongle for my phone that converts it from like a USB-C to like just a regular audio port. And in this little like Google aux cord or dongle converter thing, there was a tiny little user manual in there that had like some safety thing or something in there in like 8 languages. And I'm like, are you telling me Google can put these tiny little books in here, but video game publishers can't make a little I don't know.
Man. For just one last little tangent, for any of you guys out there who were too young, don't remember the glory days of when games came with manuals, man, you're really missing out. Those things were amazing. And I'm not saying the ones that you buy separately. I mean the ones that come in like the game cartridge box. They come with a little manual. Oh, I miss those days.
Mike, I'm glad you actually pointed that out because I just had the realization that, it's actually been a while since games did come with manuals. So we actually might have players or listeners who have never experienced that. So I
want to say it was probably like when the Wii came out, like the Wii, PS3, Xbox 360 era, I think is when they stopped doing that.
Yeah. It was like halfway through Xbox and PS3 that they stopped. And then, the Wii U, the PS4, and Xbox One, very rare that you get a manual.
Mm-hmm. And now I just look at like our Nintendo Switch boxes, and it's like just all this empty air and like one little cartridge. It's hysterical.
They didn't want to make them the size of a DS box because I think people think that's too small. And they're like, that's not a big game that would be on like a console. And I get it. My stupid brain says the same thing.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Yet this PSP-sized disc box works fine.
Yep. But again, with all this empty air, like, come on. At least include like some art or something. I don't know.
I was gonna say a lot of them do have kind of cool art, but that's about it.
Anyway,
back to actual video game news. Forget stupid game shows. Forget people trying to ban video games. That's all nonsense. We need hardcore video game news. I'm talking about controllers in your hand, wires plugged into things, gameplay on screen, graphics, buttons. Oh yeah, I'm saying buzzwords. PlayStation, we all love them. They're going to have a new state of play for PS4 and PS5 games announced for February 25th. So that is 2 days from now. Having a minor bit of deja vu here. Granted, last week, Nintendo Directs are way more of a big deal than state of plays, but kind of a similar vibe going on here. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. It says here the new state of play will feature updates and deep dives on games coming to both PS4 and PS5. I'm just trying to think of some of the announcements we've gotten these state of plays before. They've been pretty significant. I feel like we got the release date of the Final Fantasy VII remake. I think we might have got the announcement and release date of Resident Evil 2. Maybe just the release date, like the remake. There've been some big games announced during these state of plays. I'm not saying you guys should get super hype, but I'm just saying they are on the quality of a Nintendo Direct, so you might see something big here. I'm probably going to check this out, even though I still currently don't own a PS5. Cries. What I'm predicting for them to announce, I would just assume a bunch of release dates for what they have planned on the rest of the year. Kind of what Nintendo did.
Yeah, I can see that.
It would be cool if they would talk more about our next story, but I mean, let's just talk about the next story and get the cat out of the bag.
Okay, then.
PlayStation VR 2 confirmed will come with a new controller. PlayStation has announced the next generation of its PSVR headset, but it won't necessarily be called PlayStation VR 2, and it won't be coming out in 2021. Sony confirmed that the PSVR 2 will come to PS5 and will connect to the PS5 with a single cord to simplify setup and improve ease of use, while enabling a high-fidelity visual experience. It's described as a next-gen VR system that enhances everything from resolution and field of view to tracking and input. There were no images released yet for the device. So I'm not really a big proprietor of VR. I would say I'm not really sold on the gimmick of VR, but I do enjoy my short experiences I've had with VR. I heard a lot of good things about the original PSVR. I was considering buying one for a long time. I'm happy that Sony did announce that they are making a new one for the PS5 because I think they were pretty quiet about this for a while, and a lot of people were speculating that maybe they're just not going to do the PSVR again because they're like, well, maybe it cost them too much money and they didn't make enough money back. But I'm happy to see that they're still venturing down this avenue. I personally think the PSVR, the original one and now this one, are a really good, convenient way for a lot of new players to get into VR. Because sometimes you need really high-end rigs to run some of the other headsets. So I think this is really cool. Not to mention, of course, we could see all the great first-party PlayStation games maybe being turned into VR games. I think they also went into their announcement to talk about how the new controller, or whatever that is going to have a lot of the features that the DualSense 5 has. And I've been hearing really good things about the rumble system in there. It's like HD rumble, but actually really super good. So that's really cool. I'm excited for this. It's kind of a nothing announcement, but it's also a huge announcement,
Yeah. What's funny is it's kind of weird, the whole HD rumble thing with the controllers. I do want to see what it feels like.
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. I kind of get reminded of when the Switch was advertising its HD rumble similar feature, how I think it was who was it, Yoshiaki Kozumi, who was saying, yeah, if you shake it makes it feel like you actually are shaking a glass of ice. That's kind of cool, for it to actually to emulate that that vibration. And they say this HD Rumble for the PlayStation's like much more than that. Like, it's pretty impressive. So yeah, I would like to do. It's funny. I'm not saying, oh, I wish I could play the games and everything. I'm saying here, I just want to hold a controller and see what it's like.
I've definitely heard that that's one of the most impressive features of the new console, surprisingly.
Yeah, never mind the visuals. It's all about that HD Rumble.
One more short, quick one here for Sony. I think this is pretty cool. Sony to offer Ratchet & Clank PS4 entirely free for next month. Sony is bringing back its Play at Home initiative, offering select games and entertainment for free from March through June. First up, Ratchet & Clank, the 2016 game that's kind of like a reboot of the first game, and this was also based on that Ratchet & Clank movie that I think came out at the same time, will be free for all PlayStation 4 and 5 owners throughout March, including players who do not subscribe to PlayStation Plus. Sony says once you redeem the game, it is yours to keep with no time limit attached. Again, just a very posy, like, good move for Sony. I forget what the other... Oh, here they were. It was last April they did the Uncharted collection as well as Journey were free. And here it says it's going to continue through June. I'm not saying we're going to get like a free game every month, but there could be one more free game in there. Just really, really cool on Sony to offer just like a whole big free game like that.
Did I mention that I learned what the pun is for the new game Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart?
Oh no. Please share.
If you swap the F and the P, it's ripped apart.
Ah, there it is.
That's
good.
Memes.
That's good. Speaking of ripped apart, BlizzCon 2021 announcements, reveals from World of Warcraft to Diablo.
Oh man, that is a stinker. I'll tell you that.
It's kind of a shame seeing what's happening to Blizzard ever since it was bought by Activision. They really are sucking that thing dry.
Yeah, I cry every time because I used to love Blizzard.
I feel like we might have. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, to an extent, I still do love them, but yeah, it's just not the same. I'm sorry, and what were you gonna say?
I feel like we might have talked about this before. Maybe I had this conversation with someone else, but Blizzard almost has that like Nintendo or Rare kind of aesthetic going on a little bit with their games. Like they almost all have like a very unique feel, and they kind of have these like rich like worlds built around them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And yeah,
I'm not even a big WoW fan, but like the artwork and the art style of Blizzard, I absolutely adore.
Yes. And like I said up front, it's kind of sad seeing what Activision is doing with them. Activision literally just knows Call of Duty, and they're like, well, this makes us a lot of money. Let's just apply this marketing idea for Call of Duty for every game. So basically, they just want you to make the sequel of the game over and over and over and over and over, because they're like, well, Call of Duty sells like 2 million every year. Why can't Overwatch 2 sell 2 million every year? Anyways, enough about that. What did they actually announce at BlizzCon 2021 virtually? Let's see here. So first of all, they had the Blizzard Arcade Collection. Blizzard is bringing back some of its classic games with the Blizzard Arcade Collection launching. It's out now on PC and consoles. The collection features The Lost Vikings, Blackthorn, and Rock and Roll Racing, both their classic and newly enhanced formats. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I've never heard of any of those games.
I'm right there with you, Corey.
Moving on. I guess World of Warcraft is getting a patch. Maybe they announced a new expansion. They did just have a new expansion. Okay, so that's just like a patch for it. Okay, moving on. World of Warcraft, the Burning Crusade Classic expansion. Oh, right. Because I think it was a year or two ago, they released like that World of Warcraft Classic Edition. So basically now they're just selling you World of Warcraft again. So just think in like 10 to 20 years, World of Warcraft Shadowlands is going to be added to the classic version. That's kind of strange, honestly.
It sounds like Activision.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. There was a new Hearthstone expansion and Mercenaries mode revealed at BlizzCon 2021. Do you know
that's
about
kind of
this?
neat. Yeah, I mean, I don't follow Hearthstone super closely, but I do try to keep up with it because I do still love the game a lot. And the mercenary thing was pretty interesting because, like, I mean, for those of you who don't know, like, yeah, Hearthstone's like Blizzard's like online card game, and the mercenaries mode was kind of it's like a completely different mode. It has not. I basically is supposed to be more of like an RPG. So that's I guess maybe just focusing more on like some of the World of Warcraft and Hearthstone characters. And so I don't know too much about it. I think we're still waiting to hear more, and because the mode's not coming out until like later this year. But we are getting a new card expansion pack. I think towards the late March. Yeah, it's called the Barons or Forging the Barons, and the theme is just like wasteland theme with like like warriors and stuff. The cool thing is this game or this pack is actually changing the game up dramatically. We're now like similar to like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh. There were like spell cards. And Hearthstone has spell cards too, but now spells have types, which I think is pretty neat. Ooh. That's kind of like the new thing. So now it's like, cool. Yeah. So like I mean, again, I'm not too familiar with it, but like in Hearthstone at least, I don't know much about Warcraft, but mages have like ice spells and fire spells, but they were just plain spells. Now your spells have like types. Now there are ice spells, fire spells. There's nature spells. There's dark spells, holy spells. I don't know. So that's kind of neat. I think it's good. It's definitely going to create a lot more strategic gameplay, for decks now, because there's going to be a lot of cards that specifically support those kind of spells. So I think to me that's actually kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to this new expansion. The new year is going to rotate out, so that we're going to get like a set rotation. So that's kind of cool. It's always an exciting time in the first quarter of the year for Hearthstone.
I do think that's really cool. I like the idea of a single player mode.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, both of these things kind of sound well. I was gonna compare them a little bit to Runeterra, which I mean it's similar. It's just Riot's version of these kind of like card games, like the competitive online ones. I saw like a few months ago they added like some sort of like co-op mode where I don't know if you verse just like an enemy AI deck or something, but I was like, oh, that seems pretty interesting. And I do really think it's cool with the different spell types, because I was going to say one of my favorite parts about Runeterra is the spell mechanic, which kind of reminds me a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh, because there's basically like spell speeds in the game, because depending on what kind of spell you play, only other spells can react to it, or vice versa, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, and Yu-Gi-Oh has like just different types of spells too, like field spells, like continuous ones, ritual spells. So
right, yeah. So thumbs up. I think that's a really cool idea. Next up here, I actually want to check out this trailer when we're done with the podcast. I didn't hear anything about this. Diablo 4 Rogue Class trailer revealed. Just in time for Blizzard's usual quarterly developer update, we're given our first look at Diablo 4's Rogue Class with an eerily dark cinematic trailer. IGN interview game director Luis Barriga, who went into more detail about the newly revealed class and Diablo 4's PvP. And they also spoke with the art director. I don't know why they included all this without like any details about this stuff.
I agree.
I'm hyped for Diablo 4. I think it looks cool. I like Diablo. I like that style of almost like that isometric dungeon crawler. I got weirdly into Diablo 3 like a year or two ago, and I'm probably going to go back to it because I still never finished the like core Diablo 3. But this is what I'm interested in. I'm not really interested in the next announcement, but I know I'm sure a lot of people are fans of this. Diablo 2 Resurrected announced. This is just a remake of Diablo 2. I believe, did this come out already? No, not yet. It's coming out later this year. But what's cool about this one is it is coming out on like everything. PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch.
Woohoo!
I know how big this game is. I would say this is probably the fan favorite of all the Diablo games. Not knowing a lot about the Diablo games, but I just to me there's like no point to play this with Diablo 4 looming. I know it's not this year, but potentially next year. But I just think they're like so similar, kinda. I don't know. It's a little bit different because it's a classic game, and like I said, I know people have a lot of like fanfare for this, but I just have like no desire to even touch this thing. I guess some people could also say like, oh, it's good for like preservation or whatever. I do think it's cool that it's like coming everywhere though. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm always happy when it's like, on all the platforms. I mean, for a game like this, it's not like it's like a exclusive, but I'm happy that this is just available for multiple people,
So something I did think was cool, surprisingly enough, I watched the trailer for this announcement. It actually has a cross progression, which I believe means if you play on like the Switch and let's say you play on PC, I think you can link your accounts so you can play like on the go on your Switch, then come back and play on your PC. Maybe it'll even work on like the PS5. I don't know. But hypothetically, you could just, play like one account throughout all the different consoles, which, is really fucking cool. And last but not least here, this is honestly, I'd say the thing that I know the most about, because this was the news I saw. New details about Overwatch 2 and big Jeff Kaplan interview. They announced, I think, I forget if we talked about this. Maybe I just read this article, but they're pushing Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 to next year, probably because of COVID, I would assume. So they talked a little bit more about Overwatch 2, and actually, I just really saw the like character redesigns, but I did forgot that I wanted to watch some of the or this whole conference because they went a little bit more into the single player mode in Overwatch. They're making like a big effort to make it more PvE style. So you can kind of go in with your squad, but you'll just be fighting like waves of different enemies and like boss fights and stuff like that. And apparently all the heroes in Overwatch are going to have like almost their whole like own skill tree with a bunch of different like other abilities that you can like swap between, which I think seems kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Initially when they revealed that mode for Overwatch 2, I was like, oh, well, this is kind of lame. They have like these special events in Overwatch that are already almost like a horde mode type thing or almost like a Left 4 Dead type experience. But seeing the amount of depth they're actually putting into this mode seems more interesting to me. And besides that, I do like the slight hero costume designs. McCree with a bigger beard. Reaper looking more edgy. I dig it. They're very minute changes. There was a funny like thing I retweeted where it's like Mario in Overwatch, where he just looks the same, and it's like Mario in Overwatch 2, and they just added like he almost looked like a Kingdom Hearts character, like they added some zippers on him, and
I hated that. I've never seen that the Kingdom Heartsify somebody, and it's like just add zippers to everything, and it looks like Kingdom Hearts.
Pretty much, that's what it was though, and they're not wrong. So yeah,
you're not complaining.
That was BlizzCon. Oh, wait. No, it wasn't. We have another story about BlizzCon here. My bad. So, apparently, during the BlizzCon event, there was, like, a live show with Metallica playing, which was really cool. Maybe they played, like... I don't know if they did something for that Blackthorn or what the... Maybe they just did it as, like, just Metallica songs or whatever. But... because Twitch has its horrible, crazy DMCA like bots activated on high alert, Twitch replaced Metallica's BlizzCon concert with a hilarious non-heavy metal music. While fans of Metallica were treated to a special performance by the band at the end of BlizzCon 2021's opening ceremony, those watching on the official Twitch gaming channel were treated to the concert with the most non-heavy metal music imaginable in order to avoid a DMCA claim. Shortly after Metallica started playing, Twitch switched over to royalty-free music to avoid a DMCA takedown, which predictably led to a hilarious few moments that were captured on Twitter, social medias. Guys, you really got to go look this up. This music, and the tweet here sums it up the best. It is basically 8-bit folk music over Metallica. Why do I keep wanting to say AC/DC? I'm sorry. Over Metallica, and it's just like these dudes like wailing away, doing their thing, and it is this so like boring like. It's like.
That is just bizarre. It really just to get. I love how it was doing that to get around a DMCA claim. That is so comical.
That's just the state of Twitch right now and how bad it is. Oh man,
Ugh, and you want to keep streaming on there, Corey.
I just won't, play any music on there. I'll just sing it. They can't tell.
Yeah, just make your own music. Like, burp, 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 burp. That's all you gotta do.
I was gonna sing a Metallica song, but I can't think of any.
No, don't. Then YouTube will get us. Don't
I actually
do it.
don't think I can think of any Metallica songs off the top of my head.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Enter Sandman. I mean, come on. That's like everyone's favorite.
Hey, you want to know 5 Daft Punk songs?
To be honest, yeah, I'm one of those guys that I can only name like 2 Daft Punk songs. So please tell me 3 more.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna say 5. We got Around the World. We got One More Time. We got Get Lucky. We got Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. And then last but not least, let's go Give Life Back to Music. I don't know. That's just a fun one.
Sounds good. Now I learned something today.
You know what? I can't wait to do this weekend. Did you know that Daft Punk actually experimented in other forms of art besides music?
Well, clearly they did like anime or something, because they have like in their music videos they have like those blue people. I didn't know if that was like their own artwork or if that was like.
That was actually what I was going to lead into.
Oh,
so they didn't actually. I don't think they made that, but they had like an anime studio make that movie, and I do actually own it. It's based on their second album, Discovery, which is personally my favorite. And the movie is called Interstellar 5555. Yeah, and there's like another subtitle for it, but yeah, it's just a cool anime movie over the Daft Punk album Discovery. And they've done other movies. I think they did a movie for their whole first album, which I actually want to check out. I've never seen it before, but I thought that was cool. Anyways, we're not a music podcast. Why do we keep talking about all these bands?
I don't know.
I miss rock.
We're just so diverse, and so it's not a bad thing.
Quit laughing. Our not laugh quota is going down. Quit being funny. Okay. Hey, guys.
All right, I'll shut up.
Guys, do you want to hear the least funny news article out of all of these? Let me tell you right now. Soulja Boy. Oh God, we're talking about music again. Sorry.
No, he's a video game guy. You know that. Come on.
Soulja Boy is planning on releasing another video game console. I just spit on my mic because of how stupid this article is. Following a failed attempt in 2018, rapper Soulja Boy, perhaps best known for his classic song "Crank That," Soulja Boy, is apparently gearing up to release
his only song.
I thought it was just called "Crank That." I forgot there was Soulja Boy in there.
I thought it was just called Soulja Boy, honestly.
But yes,
Soulja Boy.
He's releasing another video game console. On February 20th, he tweeted, "Coming soon at Soulja Game." When you go to Soulja Game, I'm going to click on it right now, actually. I want to know. The newest tweet reads that they are building a new console from scratch. All new design, all new games, all new deals. Let's make history.
They're not all new games. They're going to be all not ports. What are they called? ROMs again. It's all ROMs. Like Super Plumber 5.
There's also an Instagram account that has 3 images of this upcoming console. And not only does it look similar to an Xbox One S, the photos are also accompanied by a controller that looks very much like a PS2 DualShock 2. What is this guy doing? He's just reselling other shit. He's not making new video games.
You know he got sued by Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
Because basically, they basically said, like, dude, this is clearly a Game Boy with a bunch of like ROMs on it. And it's clearly Mario game, like Mario ROMs. You can't sell this. And then I want to say he went on social media like ranting about it. And it's like, dude, like that's literally the definition of like not plagiarism. What's it called? You know what I'm saying? Like when people like steal content from other people. Like it's God, I'm drawing a blank here. There's a real obvious term for that. That's what he's doing.
A blank, so I'm the worst person to ask.
Yeah, I draw a blank on everything.
Literally, I was just reading the rest of this article. I'm like, oh yeah, all the stuff you're saying is what the rest of the article says.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
He had to stop selling his previous game a month after it released, and he admitted that he had to boss up. I didn't have a choice. Meaning that Nintendo
What does that mean?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
What? People don't like my game Super Plumber 10? There's actually a game called that on the console. It's like they're all just terrible ROM hacks. Anybody, if you can now his console, his little like Soldier Boy Game Boy thing is actually worth a lot of money because they're like impossible to find. So they're like actually like collectible. But like if you ever do get it and play his games, they're the most hilarious ROMs you'll ever play. Oh my god!
I will add to another interesting point that the article says at the end here. While this new Soldier game may have to go against the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch, it also will have tough competition from the 4K 240 FPS KF console that comes packaged with a chicken chamber that will keep your chicken warm as you game.
Oh, I remember the KFC console.
Now
right?
That's a solid console. Does Soldier game keep my chicken hot while I'm getting those fat dubs in Fortnite? I don't think so.
I buy that for $1.
I bet we could literally tweet at Soldier Boy about like game console ideas, and he actually might like tweet back at us. We could probably help make the new console.
He'll just be like, straight up, son. What do I need to do to make it successful?
All right, add 6 buttons. Make them all the same shape. Like, you know how PS5 has like triangle? Oh no, actually,
make them all cues.
You want a new game controller that's revolutionary? Here's a Rubik's Cube.
Oh my god.
Hey,
am I winning? No.
Hey,
you never win.
Hey, speaking of fat dubs in Fortnite, here's our like 3rd or 4th weird story of the week. They put Ryu and Chun-Li from Street Fighter into Fortnite.
Oh, that makes sense because clearly they had to because it wasn't in Mortal Kombat.
That's pretty strange.
Did you see that? Because there was a Mortal Kombat trailer that came out. I still haven't seen it yet.
Oh, but yeah, the movie one. I thought it looked cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and people were immediately complaining, why isn't Chun-Li in this? And people were like, because that's not Mortal Kombat, that's Street Fighter. And it caused a huge commotion.
I'm so happy you brought that up. Okay, so I don't know if this is true. Maybe this is a conspiracy. Maybe this is the truth. But I saw someone counter-argue that article. So the article we're talking about is, I believe it was on some like feminist like news site for some reason. And the headline was like, Mortal Kombat movie, but for some reason Chun-Li is absent or something like that.
Yeah. Like I love how it was worded, but for some reason Chun-Li wasn't included. And like as if they were expecting it.
And from what I'm understanding, so right, there was a lot of nerd outrage on the internet as it happens, daily occurrence. From what I understand, people are speculating that this particular author might have done this purposely just to get hate clicks, because it definitely did get a lot of attention. I could buy it. I don't know if that's conspiracy. Maybe it's the truth. I don't know. I'm just saying I could see it.
I don't know.
Because it does seem like a really, like, how do you not, like, Google that before you... It's the headline. It's the title of your story, Like, how do you not double check that? How does no one not say, like, excuse me, Chun-Li not in Mortal Kombat?
Oh my god.
I'm just so happy you brought that article up.
It was bizarre. I'm not even a big like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat guy. I'm just like, but even I know that. Like why would you even make the art? Like, it was just the way it was titled, like as if they were like thinking like, and you didn't include an IP from a different company. Like my god, can you imagine if like, I can't even think of like a relevant example. Mike, like women, Mario's not in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. Like, oh my god,
Mike, I just watched the Sonic 2 trailer. It looked pretty great, but where the hell's Mario?
Exactly.
There you go. Nailed it, guys.
Nailed it.
Okay. All right. I know why you guys are all here. It's the end of the news segment, which means we saved all that juicy Nintendo news for right at the end. It's like the dessert. Delicious. And I know what everyone was very excited for. The big Nintendo news of the week. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 announced for Nintendo Switch. Also PS5 and Xbox Series X.
But I don't want it.
Tony Hawk announced for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. He appeared on a Nintendo platform,
I'm okay with
guys.
that. I'm okay with that. That'd be kind of interesting. He just bashes Mario over the head with a skateboard. I'm cool
Tony
with that.
kick flips into the ring. Tony.
Now what would be his final smash?
Tony Hawk soars into the battlefield.
Oh my gosh.
I just want his like dash attack to be like when you eat shit in like these games and you fall and he like falls on like
kind of like
DDD. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Just like DDD. Yep.
I want his like final smash to be like the rest of his family comes out and just like beats the shit out of whoever they're fighting. Because I think like his son does like skating as well.
So it's kind of like the Mega Man Final Smash, where all the Mega Men come out.
Yeah, all the Hawks come out.
For some reason, they fly like an actual hawk. They just swoop down and bash you with a skateboard and a scooter. Sounds pretty dangerous.
But yeah, guys, this is kind of honestly very similar to that last story we did a few weeks ago about the Crash Bandicoot 4 announcement. Funny enough, they're also both by Activision, so I wonder why they're so similar. But get excited, that's coming out on March 26th, 2021. I heard that this like bundle of Pro Skater 1 and 2, or the remaster, whatever you call this, I heard it was really good, so, that is a good announcement to get. And last but not least, guys, we're finally here. The actual thing everyone's been waiting for. The big Nintendo Direct of February 2021.
Oh boy.
So
I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just run down the different announcements, or the ones that I actually think are interesting. You can point out any more you'd like if I skip any. Overall, I thought it was a okay Direct. I was a little more hype off the initial, like the pop off of when it was over. I was like, oh yeah, that was great. But yeah, definitely looking back on what was overall announced, I could definitely see like, yeah, this was, if you are a JRPG fan, this was your Direct. There was at least like 8 JRPGs announced.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like all these little JRPGs, I don't know, like they're not Nintendo Direct announcements. They're like mini Direct announcements because there's so many of them,
The only one that I will disagree on is the triangle, the like Octopath spiritual successor.
Right. No, that was a bigger game because that had a big following. Like it truly had a big following.
And like Octopath was also revealed around the initial launch of the Switch. And I had to remind myself, they did something very similar when they revealed Octopath, is they did like a demo of it, and they have like a little survey because they try to like tune the game before it releases. So I thought that was really cool that they did that again with the triangle RPG, whatever it's called. We'll get there. But anyways,
Triangle strategy?
Yeah.
You know it's gonna keep the name. It's gonna keep that name.
It's just gonna be Triangle something or Try something. It's gonna be very similar.
No, but Octopath Traveler, that was what it was called. Project Octopath Traveler.
I thought it was just Project Octopath, and they added an
extra was it?
word. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh, I thought Traveler was included in the...
I know.
Well, regardless, you're right. It's going to be Triangle something.
Yeah. It'll be very similar. But yeah, we'll get to that in a minute here. First of all, hey guys, doesn't everyone hate anime sword fighters in Smash? I wonder what the next character in the fighter pass should be.
I hope you guys on Instagram saw the one meme I had where it's like, oh no, Patrick, what could be worse than another anime fighter? And then Patrick going, oh, I know, 2 anime fighters.
I saw that and I liked it.
But
yes, guys, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Pyrrha and Mithra joined Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in March 2021. The characters look interesting. Most notably, I think it is cool that you can switch between both the characters. I'm curious to know how different each of their movesets are, considering they kind of are both the same overall, like, aesthetic. They are just anime girl with big titties and big sword.
Whoa, you can't say that word. You can't say that word.
Sword? Anime?
Yes.
Which
Yes.
one? Okay.
All of them. But titties is acceptable, okay?
You know,
I can't believe I said that.
that would be a good podcast title, but I don't think I could commit to that.
Yeah. but Papa YouTube be like, no.
But you know, I played a little bit of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I actually liked it. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the story. I was upset when they did the initial, like, oh, Rex is just a Mii fighter. He's not going to be in the game. And I was like, oh, no, Rex would have been cool. But then for some reason, when Pyrrha and Mithra got announced, I was, like, not, like, that hype. I was like, I don't know. Maybe it is just because, again, they're an anime sword fighter. And, I mean, we had the prince himself of all of that, or should I say the king, Sephiroth, of anime sword fighters. Like, how do you follow that guy up?
True.
Yeah. Also, this is a little related, but it's kind of interesting how all of the Smash DLC characters who are like proper Nintendo characters always kind of are the least hype. Byleth, Min, Piranha Plant. They've all kind of been like, okay, I guess.
Because they're not Geno.
Yeah, where is he? But I think the character, I'll definitely give her a try, because, I mean, I do usually like me a sword fighter. I'm very unhyped, though, for this character. Like, it really doesn't do anything for me. Also,
I mean, I'm sure there are people who are... I know there are
yes,
Xenoblade fans out there. So I say to those people, hey, good for you. I'm glad you got a new character added to the roster, you know? Because all they had was Shulk for the longest time, I believe.
I do agree. You're right. Also, I do enjoy the inclusion of more, like, female fighters, because there aren't really a lot of them. And like I said, I do think it's interesting how they swap out. Like, I want to know more about that. Like, that's their gimmick. I need to see that more in action.
I mean, I guess it's kind of like Zelda and Sheik. Only, you know, when you did that, their fighting style changed dramatically. But it seems like Pyra and Mithra are very similar. Like, right. I don't know if there's any like nuances to their fighting style.
Right. Well,
maybe
we'll probably learn that soon if they're coming out in March. All right, moving on. They got the heavy hitters up front here. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 news planned for later this year. Unfortunately, our good buddy Ayyyyy Aoyama came out and he said, we're working hard on Breath of the Wild 2. We don't have anything to show you, unfortunately. Which, I mean, at this point is better than nothing.
No, believe me, I have to calm myself down, because at least you're talking about it. That's to me,
right.
That is it's such a huge difference to at least acknowledge the game's in progress. We're working on it, but we're not ready yet. That's such a big contrast to just not addressing it at all. It really is.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, and technically they did that last year, at the very end of last year when they announced Age of Calamity. They at least said, "Oh yeah, we're still working on Breath of the Wild 2. We're not ready yet, but here's another Zelda game." You know, like that was kind of cool. And then they did the exact same thing here, where it's like, "Well, here's a Zelda remake." You know, so at least they did something. I can't say the same for every other IP that they forgot to talk about. Grumble, grumble, grumble.
What are you talking about? Splatoon? They had an announcement.
No, F-Zero, man.
Mario? They had an announcement. Oh, you mean Pokemon? Yeah, they had nothing for Pokemon. That was weird.
Yeah. Even though we all know Pokemon's probably going to get its own direct anyway.
Okay, but joking aside, I was actually surprised there was nothing for Pokemon. I would have even thought like a trailer for Pokemon Snap.
Admittedly, yeah. Again, I think Pokemon might get its own not its own trailer, but its own direct at some point. That's just kind of what they do. Like, they might drop a few things for Pokemon, but then Pokemon's big enough to be like, yeah, we'll do a whole like 30 minutes talking about. I'm assuming they're going to talk mainly about Pokemon Snap, and then they're going to maybe mention, oh, by the way, we'll make a Diamond and Pearl remake or at the very end of it, you know.
Okay, so I have a question for you, and I was thinking about this today. Do you think they're going to go Diamond and Pearl remake, or do you think they're going to go Johto, let's go? Like, let's go Meryl and let's go Pichu, or I don't know, whatever.
Oh, to be fair, they'd be stupid not to, because look. I mean, I am a huge fan of the original Red and Blue, and I really enjoyed Fire Red and Leaf Green. Like they are phenomenal games. But I don't do Gold and Silver. I loved Gold and Silver, the Johto areas. So I would love for them to do like a Let's Go Johto.
Oh yeah.
First of all, that just sounds awesome. Let's Go Johto. they don't have to call it like like Let's Go Cyndaquil or anything. Just Let's Go Johto. And I didn't buy Let's Go Pikachu Eevee. Like, the game looks great. I'm sure it's awesome. It just didn't appeal to me because I played Red and Blue and Leaf Green and Fire Red. But Let's Go Johto. I'm all for it, Corey.
To be honest, I'm kind of rooting more for that one as well. Like, I really enjoyed Diamond and Pearl, and I think Diamond and Pearl are great games. Definitely, I hope one day we'll get a remake. But
yeah, I mean, I never played Diamond and Pearl because I heard the games were actually like pretty bad. It's like I think people were saying, well, people were saying that because like the gyms didn't make any sense. Like there were gym leaders and Elite Four people that had like Pokemon that were the wrong type. Like I think there was like I think there was like one of the Elite Four, and she's like, I'm the Fire Elite Four trainer, and she had one Fire Pokemon. It's like, wait, what? Like I don't understand. I think it was Fire Pokemon specifically that got like no love in that game. Like I think they said the only Fire Pokemon you can catch was like Ponyta.
Oh wow!
Besides the starter, and besides like I think Magmar got like his new evolved form, Magmortar. Like there was no other Fire Pokemon to catch in the game. It was like really weird. But then I played Platinum, which is like the yellow version of Diamond and Pearl, and I thought Platinum was a great game. So I'm sure they'll probably do something very similar for the Diamond and Pearl remakes. They'll like revise them to be as good as Platinum was.
Right. I would assume they might even add like more features and stuff like that too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're probably gonna include like what's it called, Dynamaxing or something, because like the Ruby and Sapphire remakes included Mega Evolutions. So
that makes sense.
So maybe they'll include Dynamax or something.
But yeah, I agree. We'll probably get like a Pokemon Direct at some point, because isn't it? Oh yeah, it's also Pokemon's. Oh god, is it 25th anniversary?
15th anniversary.
Oh, it's 15. Never mind.
No. I'm sorry. It was from 1990.
I think it's 20,
25. 25. Yep, yeah. 25. So I could not think for a second.
I was going to say, it's definitely not 15. Pokemon did not come out in 2006.
Yeah. Brain fart.
Okay. Moving on, though. Hey, more Zelda news. Finally, we got the announcement of our Skyward Sword HD.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out July 16th. And guess what, guys? You can play not using motion controls.
Yeah. I was very happy to hear about that.
Me too.
I for one enjoy the motion controls. Maybe I know I'm the minority here, but I enjoy those controls. But I'm actually really impressed that they were able to incorporate it just by like I was curious how they were going to do it, and I like how it's like the lock-on feature, and then you just use the right joystick to direct where your sword goes. Like it's so simple, but it makes so much sense.
I agree, and to me, even though I haven't touched the game, I think that seems like it's going to work out just fine. I'm very excited for that. A lot of people were getting a little upset, though, because like everyone was like, why is this game $60? But then I also saw a post the other day, or I think it was today, but it was like no one complained when Wind Waker HD came out on the Wii U when it was $60. Same with Twilight Princess HD. So why are people mad now? I'm personally not mad. I was like, oh, $60. That's it's normal.
Yeah, and I'll say this right now as someone who loves Skyward Sword. This is a very hefty game. It is long. I think it's longer than Twilight Princess.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and Twilight Princess was also a pretty hefty game. Like this game is. I mean, some people say like this game is very long, like for better or for worse. I personally, again, I think it's great. It's just more content, it's more stuff to do, and I think it's a great game. So I can't wait for someone like you, Corey, to play it.
I'm very excited to play this. I've never played. I've told
maybe
you before,
a potential let's play for the channel.
Don't ruin all the surprises. Hey, more Zelda news. The Joy-Cons. We have a Skyward Sword themed Hylian Shield and Master Sword Joy-Con. Very beautiful. I dig
Yeah.
them.
I don't honestly. I want these again just for collectible purposes. I think they just look really cool.
Oh yeah, I think they're selling out like crazy. I would like them, but I don't even know if I want to try to hunt them down. Maybe if I see a pre-order link, I will pre-order them. But I would not open them. I'd just keep them on the shelf.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's what I'd say is maybe one of the bigger notable announcements. I mean, Nintendo thought it was. It was the end point of the Direct. Splatoon 3 announced. Splatoon 3 has been announced for 2022. The reveal trailer showed an inkling in a desert heading to a new city called Splatlands. We also got a glimpse of a new bow weapon, customization options, and more.
And more. But wait, there's more.
I think it looks great. I love Splatoon. More Splatoon is good. I was honestly surprised that they haven't announced a new Mario Kart yet, you know?
Well, to be fair, there's no need to because
8 Deluxe is selling so well.
It's still selling well. I think they're working. I think they're definitely working on a new Mario Kart, but they're saving it for the next console, and it'll be like a bigger, better Mario game or Mario Kart game.
That's fair.
But we'll see.
The new Mario Kart game this year is go to Super Nintendo World or whatever it's called and ride that.
Oh
ride.
yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, but Nintendo or Splatoon 3, it looks cool. There's not a lot to it right now. I feel like someone pointed this out, and I kind of agree with them. It looks like it's more like it has a bigger scale. Like in my opinion, Splatoon 2 looks like they kind of just took what they had on the Wii U and almost like blew it up a tiny bit, whereas this looks like it's a Splatoon from the ground up on the Switch. Okay, moving on. Mario Golf Super Rush announced for Switch. Coming out June 25th. It's developed by the same Camelot, the people who made Mario Tennis Aces. The game features a speed golf multiplayer mode, motion controls, a story mode, and much, much more. I am super excited for this one. I was longing a Super Mario Golf because I love golfing games, especially these,
honestly, me too. Yeah,
these arcadey style ones. I'm very excited for this game. This was one of my most hypest announcements of the Direct.
The speed golf multiplayer mode really intrigued me because it's like a whole new way to play.
It looks wacky.
Yeah, but I love wacky though.
Oh yeah,
and the story mode, that's very exciting to hear. But after Mario Tennis Aces, I'm not really the term story mode can go in two directions. So I want to see if this is actually like a true story mode or it's just a weird little cinematic that is very underwhelming.
I'm just reminded of that Mario Aces story mode where Luigi gets the evil tennis racket that's like the Thanos gauntlet. It was weird.
Yeah, again, and when you saw that, when we first saw that, I was like, my God, this looks incredible. And then it was like, oh, never mind. Here's just a bunch of weird little mini missions, and then at the very end, you just fight you fight the possessed Luigi, and I think Wario and Waluigi were possessed too, and then it was over. I'm like, oh, that's not what I expected. That was just a game. If you like tennis, play it. You know.
I heard the mechanics were actually really good. The tennis itself was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, I think it's just very, very repetitive. So if you enjoy playing Mario Tennis, it's perfect for you. You know. But if you're looking for a whole new way to play, it's it's just Mario Tennis.
That's fair. It's hard to get a lot of variety in sports games like that.
Yeah,
but yeah. Some people just naturally like to play that stuff over and over and over.
Yeah, I mean, hey, until I felt with Mario Strikers Charged. I mean, it was just basically football, and I couldn't stop playing it, and I'm still waiting for a Mario football game.
I think
a free one.
I would think after this, because I feel like there was a lot of vocals for a new Mario Golf when they announced Mario Tennis Aces. I would think maybe that would be the next one after this in Mario sports game lineage. And that'd be super hype.
Oh yeah.
Moving on, we got what we were talking about earlier, Project Triangle Strategy announced for Switch, and there is a demo available right now. The newest in Square Enix HD 2D series, Project Triangle Strategy, is coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2022. It's a working title right now and appears to be a successor, but not a sequel, to Octopath Traveler. And the gameplay from... I actually didn't play the demo, but I watched someone play through the whole demo. It's kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics or a little bit of Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
That's what I saw. Yeah, that's what I saw. To me, it looked like Fire Emblem gameplay. And,
it's just got that beautiful, graphic style of Octopath Traveler. But now, all the sprites have, since they have to rotate, they have all their different, angles. And they kind of, move. It looked really cool, man. I'm really excited for this game. I really liked Octopath Traveler. Moving on, we had Star Wars Hunters announced for the Switch. I think this is just coming out on everything, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what to make of this, man. It's a free-to-play, squad-based online multiplayer game by Zynga. Zynga made a lot of, mobile... Or didn't Zynga make, Farmville?
Oh, did they? I have no idea. Well, time to Google that up. I'm kind of curious.
But yeah, we'll see how it is. I want more of a single-player Star Wars game, but hey, I mean, I play a lot of free-to-play multiplayer games, so I'm sure I'll check it out.
Yeah, you're right. They are the ones that made Farmville.
There you go. So, let that determine the quality of this game.
You're right. Yeah. Again, I agree. I would like to see a more single-player game. So something on the same scale or scope of Jedi Fallen Order, but little multiplayer games are always fun. I mean, hey, it's free to play, so that's kind of cool, I guess. Yeah, you can never say you wasted money on it.
All right, I'm just gonna kind of bang a couple of these titles out, which I think are cool. Fall Guys is coming to the Switch in summer. Great.
That's neat.
Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity is getting an expansion pass, new characters, new content, basically like the Breath of the Wild one. But for Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, one quick little comment on that. I was really shocked that they didn't really talk about it. They kind of just showed a list of all the things that they're adding, and then the picture went away. It was very it was the kind of they were hyping you up for the expansion pack, and they kind of just said, "All right, here's all the changes," and then all right, on to the next game. It was very strange, or at least maybe that's just how I perceived it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear they did the same thing when they announced the Breath of the Wild expansion. They just initially showed what's coming in each thing, and that was the whole announcement. And then a few months later, they showed oh, here's what you get in the first pack, and then
I honestly don't remember. It's been a while since that came out.
Really, the only thing they implied in that trailer is that the name of the scientist and that other girl, they're gonna be playable characters. The different Sheikah, the Sheikah scientist and the Sheikah alchemist or whoever the other. I think
it was Piri or Puru. I forget her name. Yeah, I know who they are. I can't name them.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool if you like Hyrule Warriors. I'm gonna talk more about that game later. I spoiler alert, I don't really like that game that much.
No.
Moving on. Ninja Gaiden Master Collection announced for Nintendo Switch. That looked really cool. I never played any of those games, but I'd give them a try. I believe that's also coming everywhere, though, so, I'd probably rather play that on the PS4. Super Mario items are headed to Animal Crossing New Horizons. They actually come out
you're excited about
this
that.
week, February 25th. I agree. I'm very excited. They look really cool. I like the addition of the coins you can pick up and they kind of come back. I like the thwomp as well as the warp pipe, which actually seems really cool. I was explaining that to my girlfriend because that's actually something that's really a quality of life type of thing on Animal Crossing. You can kind of just have a little warp point anywhere on the map for your island. That's pretty cool. Moving on. Nintendo 3DS title Miitopia coming to Switch May 2021. That's kind of a random one.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, out of all the games shown here, seeing that just that title that IGN put on this article, Nintendo 3DS title, does that not open the floodgates for more games from the 3DS coming to the Switch? Please?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they confirmed that the 3DS, like the development for the 3DS has ceased. So I don't know if it's ever going to come back.
I'm sorry,
I wouldn't
Mike.
get,
You did not. You're
I
not.
wouldn't get upset.
You're not. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm saying, does this mean we're gonna get ports of 3DS games on the Switch?
Oh,
Because this is a port of Miitopia on the Switch. Does that mean we're gonna get like Link Between Worlds on the Switch, or maybe Metroid Samus Returns on the Switch?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not know it was a 3DS game. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely misunderstood your point. That being said, that is very exciting.
Right.
Hey, give these 3DS games new life on the Switch.
Uprising? The dream. That's the coolest part about that announcement. Honestly, I didn't even think about that until now, because I, like you, also didn't realize that this was just the 3DS version ported on the Wii, or the Switch, excuse me. I thought this was like a new game. But that's cool. I thought that game looked silly. Other than that, there's a lot of jamble in here. A bunch of nothing too impactful. Although I don't know why IGN buried the fucking No More Heroes trailer and announcement that the game's coming August 27th. That was probably my favorite trailer of the Direct.
I know. I'll be honest though. Yeah, I think even in the Direct it was buried. They could, because they threw it amongst all of the other little like smaller announcements.
You're right. Absolutely.
I was saying, like, why didn't this get its own big little moment? Like, this is probably one of the best games that's coming out. And I don't know. I was shocked that it was given very little time in the spotlight. And they kind of like I don't know the actual order of which the games were being announced, but I remember I'm just kind of like it might as well have been in between two of those JRPG games, you know?
I wonder if Nintendo just doesn't like No More Heroes because it's an M-rated title.
Yeah, because he uses his sword as a, you know.
Yep.
Because they don't like how he charges up the lightsaber.
Exactly.
Or the beam katana.
Yeah, they better go yell at George Lucas. How dare he?
Yeah. Well, they're gonna go to Suda51. Couldn't think of his name. You have to change the way you save in this game. The guy can't take a dump and you save. We're family friendly here, Nintendo.
All right, we'll have him take a piss.
I'm cool with that. Then again, and then there's games like Mad World, which are just like one of the goriest games I've ever played. So it's like, that's fine for Nintendo. I'm cool with that.
I thought you were gonna point out all the dating sims that are on the eShop right now that are definitely not a bunch of like lewd hentai fan art.
Oh wait, no. Well, the funny thing is, like Nintendo of Japan, they really don't care. You can get all kind of crazy, like weird, inappropriate games over in Japan. It's only when it comes to like the like outside countries like the United States where like the censorship kind of takes place.
They're like,
but even so,
hey, family
Nintendo's pretty. Yeah, that's true. But I'll be honest, Nintendo is very like they're not like they're pretty tame when it comes to censorship. They're actually like they do allow their creators to just to make the game any way that they want it to be. You know,
Mike, I hear ya. I see Pyra and Mithra. You know.
Yeah. What was that one game that came out? I think it was called Omega Labyrinth. Have you ever seen that?
Nope. I'm gonna Google it right now.
Yeah. It's like a roguelike game, and apparently, like because Sony's all about censorship now, and it's like, well, the Nintendo release for that newest game is uncensored, or like it doesn't have all the censorship that Sony's doing, and it's like, yeah, if you want to get all this like really erotic, like inappropriate, like Japanese fangirl gameplay, look no further than the family-friendly Nintendo Switch to play that game in all of its glory.
There's a lot of glory here. I'm looking at it. Okay. We still got some more Nintendo Direct news, guys.
Sorry, I had to share that.
It's okay. I thought this game looked cool. Neon White. So this is like a first-person roguelike card battler
Yeah, that was interesting seeing how like it was how cards were involved for fighting.
Yeah, and I was kind of like, I really dug it because it's like combining a bunch of things I like, first-person shooters and like card games. I was like, okay, this seems kind of interesting.
I want to say that there was a Kingdom Hearts game. I think it was like the Game Boy title or something that involves cards for fighting.
Chain of Memories, yep.
Was that it? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so that looked cool. World Ends Club arriving sometime in 2021. I thought that also looked pretty neat. It's made by the people who made like Danganronpa, and like it just kind of literally looks like that. It's almost like a like they need to figure out what's going on. You have your cast of like, I think there were like 12 or 13 different like teens or whatever. I thought that looked pretty neat. It's probably gonna have like a really good story because the Danganronpa, I've heard that they all have like very good stories. I mean, really, the only other announcement here that I think is notable is Hades is going to be getting a physical edition, which is pretty cool. It's coming out March 19th. I believe it's going to be, I think it's $40. Maybe it's 35. I'm not sure. But funny enough, we were talking about this earlier. This version of Hades will come with a complete art book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's also very
Love me some art,
considering I haven't played Hades yet. But that was it. That's pretty much the direct. I thought it was okay.
No Prime 4 news. I'm sad.
What if
no Metroid news at all? So I'm sad.
Well, I guess we gotta wait another 2 years for a Nintendo Direct.
Just for it to be, you know,
we're still working on Breath of the Wild 2, guys.
Oh, man. This is why I was crying at the beginning of this episode.
But with that being said, that is going to wrap up the news segment for the week. Now we're going to move on to our second segment of the podcast where we talk about what we've been watching and playing over the past week. It's okay if I go first, Mike?
Go right ahead.
Okay, in terms of watching, I have really not been watching too much. Just a lot of like, I don't know, like Twitch streams and a little bit of YouTube here and there. Not anything to talk about. I have been playing more Cyberpunk 2077, and I just want to guarantee everyone that by the next podcast, I will definitely have beaten this game. I actually went to my last like main objective point, and right before I was going to enter the location, it gave me the nice like, oh, hey, this is the point of no return. If you enter this area, this is just the end game. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. I love when games do that. So I'm going to do a few more side missions, but I'm not going to complete the map. I just decided that I just want to beat this game and move on to something else because I almost have 60 hours in the game at this point. I will say I do enjoy the game. I don't think the gameplay is that great, but I've been still liking exploring the world. It's just like a good like Fallout type game, you know? And definitely it will get better as, you know, they improve the game, but I enjoyed my time playing it so far. I don't really have much else to say about it. I've just had so many like weird and like wacky little like missions in there. If only they just were like missing like one or two little elements, because I heard like The Witcher 3 had great little like side quests where they were all like super involved and had great stories. In Cyberpunk, I feel like I find a lot of interesting side quests, but I don't know, they all just kind of fall flat. They're not like that great. But I mean, I will give them credit that they are kind of unique. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay.
Like I also mentioned when we were talking about the Direct, I did play some more Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I turned on the camera and busted the streaming machine on and started streaming again. That's been going good. But yeah, I definitely don't love this game. I am not a fan of Warriors type games. Something about them just doesn't feel good to me. It's funny though, because when I was streaming this game, one of my friends came in and he was like, "This game kind of reminds me of Kingdom Hearts." And at first I was like, I'm not seeing it besides like the mashy elements. But I kind of saw where he was coming from with the combination of like the different like spell rods that you can use, and also the different like with your Sheikah Slate, you get the different runes. And I was like, oh yeah, in a weird way, it kind of is like a Kingdom Hearts game. However, it is not drawing me in like a Kingdom Hearts game, whether that be, Donald and Goofy aren't next to me, or I actually... Well, the story is okay in Age of Calamity. I'd say the story is probably the most interesting part to me. But yeah, I'm just... I don't really dig these warrior games. The gameplay, something about it, I just don't like. I honestly don't think I want to give up on Age of Calamity, though. I would like to complete the story and then shelf it, but we'll see. There's just... I don't know. I think it's just the gameplay that's holding me back. There are other elements about the game I like, but something about it is just... I don't know. It's not that great.
No, I understand. I'm also not the biggest fan of the Dynasty Warriors gameplay. Like, I think I only really played the original Hyrule Warriors because it was a Zelda game. Like, let me see how it goes. And the story was kind of interesting, even though it was just kind of like a weird little fabricated story. And I think the main reason why I want to play Age of Calamity is, like you said, just mainly for the story.
Yeah. And it's like that world, too. Like, even the first Hyrule Warriors, I kind of liked the aesthetic they were going for. And they also had, like, the bringing in all the different heroes and side characters from the different eras, which were cool. I loved Link with that cool, like, blue scarf, Yeah. And same thing here. Like, I love the world of Hyrule. I like exploring. Well, you don't explore that much, but you run around the different areas. And it's cool because there are actually, like, towns in Hyrule, as opposed to when you play Breath of the Wild and it's just, like, a wasteland full of, like, guardians everywhere shooting laser beams at you.
Yeah, because this is before the war.
Exactly.
So it was bustling with towns and people. Yeah,
and that's interesting to me. But yeah, I'd say the gameplay is just the factor that's holding me back. Even like switching between the different characters, I do like that, but to me it's just not interesting enough personally. So yeah, that was Age of Calamity. Probably gonna play more of that by next podcast as well. I also played JackBox Party Pack 7. So the JackBox games have been coming out for a while now. They usually release a new one. Actually, I don't know what their release schedule is like. I was going to say once a year. Maybe it's like every other year. I don't know. But if those of you who don't know, JackBox is just like a collection of like 5 to 6 different mini games. And they are all very like basic to get into. Basically, all you really need is a smartphone. And you connect to one person hosting the game. And then everyone can play who's connected. And they usually go to up to 8 or 10 players. So in JackBox Party Pack 7... Oh gosh, what were the games I played? Maybe I should pull up the actual game itself so I can look at them and actually tell you the names of them. Here we go. JackBox. We're doing it live. 7. Here we go. Let's see. Okay. Got the names here. So I played one game called Devils and Details. So what this one is everyone's like a little like demon guy. And basically, you want to work together as a family to do like these random tasks and achieve your main goal. But at the same time, while you're doing these random tasks, some players will get like the selfish tasks, which will give them a lot of points, but not contribute to the overall like point factor. And like after each round, it shows you who the people who like diverged were. I don't really think there's any other penalty besides that, so I almost don't know why you wouldn't diverge, in my opinion. The game was a lot of fun. The random tasks were all like little mini games on your smartphone. For example, some you do by yourself where it's just like, oh hey, fold this like napkin, and it's like swipe left, swipe right, swipe left, hold, swipe left. Just little things like that. But then some of the games you actually have to team up with other members of the family. So for example, there was another one where it's like, oh, so-and-so needs help getting to the grocery store. And on their screen, they have a very close-up picture of a car on a road. And then on my screen, I will have like a GPS-style view of a map. And I have to essentially guide them to the grocery store. So that was pretty fun. I liked that one. I did horrible at it. I was just fake gamer bro Corey. I got the worst amount of points. I was like, how are you guys doing so well? I'm kind of sad. But it was fun. Next up, I played Champed Up. This is kind of like a sequel to another Jackbox game, which is called TKO. That one is you made like T-shirts and like little catchphrases to go with the T-shirts, and then you create these abomination T-shirts, and people would pick the funniest one. Here you are making mascots, so you draw like your whole character, and then I think you also like kind of title them, and then people will like make a counter mascot to verse yours. It was pretty fun. I was better at that one. I'm always good at the drawing ones. I'm a pretty artistic man. I enjoyed that too. I also played Talking Points. I'm trying to remember what this one is. I actually have to click on this for a second. Oh, right. So this one, you have to like do these weird like public speaking. I actually really don't remember this one. I definitely played this one. I don't remember anything about it. I'm just not going to talk about that one. I played Talking Points. I got nothing to say about it. It was forgettable.
Fair enough.
And last but not least, we played Quiplash 3, which this is, if you guys have never played Quiplash, it's basically there'll be a prompt for a question or a phrase, and then you just put a response, and whoever had the funnier response, like people pick. It's fun. Quiplash is a lot of fun. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about JackBox Party Pack 7. I enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. I like the JackBox Party games. Last but not least, and what I spent a majority of my week doing, is I got the smell of the game. I got the urge to punch some dudes. But I didn't want to punch dudes like Mario or Link. I wanted to punch other dudes. Like Soul Bad Guy. I played the Guilty Gear Strive Beta. So this is the newest edition of Guilty Gear, coming out on the PS4, PS5, and PC. I was watching a lot of people play this game on Twitch, and I thought to myself, I think this looks really cool. I've always admired like traditional fighting games from afar for many, many years, and I've tried multiple times to get into them and just failed. And one of the things that was making me very interested about this game is that the developers actually implemented a new type. Well, it's not a new type, but a better type of internet coding or way to make the internet play better called rollback netcode, which kind of smooths out your experience playing against another player. So there's no like stuttering, or there won't be like multiple moves coming out at once. Like it kind of smooths it out, so it does feel like you're actually playing someone who's just sitting next to you. And I thought that was a big advantage to that, because I'm like, okay, so you're telling me I could actually play this fighting game online without getting a lot of lag or input delay or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to commit to this game. At first I was like, I'm going to give this game a try and see if I like it or not. And it was a free beta, which I didn't even know. I thought you had to pre-order it. But I got in. I played a few minutes in the training mode, and I was sold. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to buy this game. And you know what? I'm really committing. I ordered one of those arcade like fight sticks. They're just called fight sticks. I've had one before. But I sold it, and I'm getting a new one. And I'm going to start playing more fighting games because I really like the genre of fighting games. I think it's almost a forgotten art in video games. They don't get talked about too much. I'd say the most popular is probably Super Smash Brothers or maybe like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really love this game. I thought it was super good. It's hard because I can't really talk too much about this because I'm not very familiar with the other Guilty Gear games. One of my best friends, Second State, he has competed in the previous Guilty Gear series. He's very big into these games. I've been talking to him a lot about Guilty Gear Strive because I don't really know a lot. But I enjoyed diving into this world. I love the characters. I love the music. I love the style. It's very anime. It's very cool. It's very like heavy metal, hard rock. It's got a lot of cool vibes going on. The netcode worked really well. I would say I probably played about like 40 or 50 matches. And I'm going to say I probably had like maybe 5 that were like kind of bad, which is good for a fighting game online. I will talk about the beta. It was actually a really detailed beta, which I enjoyed. There was a just like single player versus mode. There was a training room. I think there might have been like an arcade type of mode. I'm not sure. There was a really cool like online multi. Well, it wasn't that cool. It's a little complicated, but the online system was all like working, and I thought that was interesting. I'm trying to remember all the modes. There were a couple different modes in the beta, which I was surprised. There also were like almost the whole characters or like the complete roster was in the beta, which I also really appreciated. So I didn't get to play around with every character. I kind of just gravitated towards one character, which his name was Nagoriyuki. Now, if y'all want to, well, if you guys don't know how to spell that, just search Guilty Gear Strive Nago, Nago, and you can probably autocorrect the rest. But this character is this probably like 7 or 8 foot tall black man. He's got these cool like dreads, and his like he's got like this. He's like a samurai. Like he has the komodo, or I don't know what you call that robe that like a samurai would wear.
The gi?
A gi.
No,
Yeah. And he's got a huge katana that's like almost as long as he is. And then he also has like a tiny little katana. But the piece de resistance is his helmet is this really cool like skull vampire looking mechanical helmet.
Ooh.
It's funny we're talking about Daft Punk and robot helmets, but yeah, it's kind of like a robot. And he actually is a vampire, which is interesting. So like his kind of like character gimmicks is he has like these big hitbox moves because he's like such a big character and has this big sword. But because he's like a vampire, every time he uses like special moves, like his equivalent of a Hadouken or whatever, he actually drains like it drains like his blood, so he needs blood. So some of his moves, when they connect on the opponent, will drain blood, but some of them don't. And you have to manage this blood meter, because if you don't, he goes into a blood rage state where his helmet flies off and his big katana gets glowy red and even bigger, but he can't he becomes super slow. Well, he just loses some of his movement options. He doesn't become like very slow. But he also his life starts depleting. So he's kind of interesting because you get these like really powerful attacks with these huge hitboxes, but if you don't manage this blood meter properly, he will basically kill himself because you drain like all your life from yourself.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I can't say I've ever seen a fighting game character just like that, and I really dug him. I thought he was really cool. I definitely gravitated towards him. I mained him, and I'm probably going to main him when the game comes out because I thought he was super neat. He was badass. He has this his super is really cool too. He swings you into the air and then he slashes you a bunch of times, and then he kind of does this like cool pose, and it almost is like the rising sun. Like it reminded me of like the Japanese like flag, but then it also has like all this cool like Japanese art around it. It was really flashy and super neat. Overall, I loved Nagoriyuki. I loved the Guilty Gear Strive beta. It was super great. I can't wait to play this game when it comes out. Some of my friends were super interested in it. I actually streamed this game. Yesterday was the last day of the beta, and a few of my friends were coming in. They're like, "Oh, you're getting this game. Oh, I'm so excited. This is so cool." And I'm like, yeah, dude, this is going to be great. So I'm just super happy to be in here. Once I get my fight stick in, I'm probably going to get it in before the game comes out, and I think I'm going to just explore some of my other fighting games that I have that I honestly really haven't touched at all. I bought Mortal Kombat 11 a year or two ago, and I played it like once. I think I'm going to bust into that because I actually am a big fan of Mortal Kombat. I love the characters and the gameplay, so I'm going to be checking that out in the near future. And yeah, I'm just excited to try to get more into like traditional fighting games because I think they're really cool. And that was my week, man.
Well, it's definitely a lot more than what I can say. But then again, you always have so much more to say than I do, and I do envy you for that, Corey.
I'm a diverse gamer. I like to play a lot of stuff.
You are very diverse.
It's a curse and a blessing.
Yeah, I'm definitely more not like narrow or like specific, but I do have like my taste in games, and I rarely delve and try new things, which I kind of wish I would try more things like game wise, but you know it is what it is. But
So what did
so
you
my
do with your week?
so my week, I unfortunately didn't get a chance to really watch any like newer shows. I was trying to find like a new show to watch because I'm still watching Turn Washington Spies. Again, really really interesting show, but no new shows. However, I did try to rewatch a show that I kind of like gave up on, and it's the show Gotham. And I remember like
Oh,
when the show first came out, I was really into it because like
me
I thought, wow,
too.
this is that. Yeah, like it was just a really cool thing of it being like here's like not like an origin story, but kind of like okay, usually we have the big like I'm sure there's comic books that delve into like Bruce Wayne's childhood, but like this is just like okay, like Batman, Bruce Wayne is a kid, his parents are murdered, and that's where the show takes off. Like that's where it continues from
It's
there.
it's kind of like a prequel, I'd say.
Yeah, kind of like so. I don't want to say it's like an origin story, but they kind of show like where all the villains have originated in Gotham. And the cool thing is the show focuses mainly on again for those who haven't watched it. I guess spoiler warning: the show focuses mainly on the Gotham City Police Department and Jim Gordon, who in like the later like comic books and TV shows and the movies, Jim Gordon is the police commissioner. But in this, he's just like like a police officer on the force, and he's working alongside Harvey Bullock, who most people probably know from the animated series. He was kind of like that, like rough talking, like New York guy with the brown trench coat and everything. And I can't name the actor who does Harvey, but I think he plays a very good Harvey. And but anyway, yeah. So the show was really cool, and I just remember like 3 seasons in, I slowly stopped watching it, and I don't want to sound like I'm being like really critical, but I think it was because some of the characters had very weird development. Like I was really into watching like the Penguin and the Riddler. Like I think that's the reason why I wanted to watch the show again, because I just remember really enjoying the Riddler's like plot. Like, or I guess before he became the Riddler, he was Edward Nigma, and so I really liked his character as he like slowly started to become the Riddler. Like at least like by like going crazy and losing his sanity and stuff. And
I really enjoyed the actor who played the Penguin, or Oswald Cobblepot.
yeah, like there was a lot that I liked about the Penguin's character. I think again, I don't want to sound like I'm being like anti-progressive, but I think I was mainly disturbed by like how they tried to make him like have feelings for the Riddler, like how Oswald has started to have feelings for Edward. I'm like I'm not trying to act like as if like it's not 2021, and also I guess I just felt like it just didn't work for me. It didn't work for us trying to like twist the story around of Oswald Cobblepot, like being homosexual, and it's not because I'm against that. It's more like, but that's just not what the Penguin is. Because in the previous comic books and in the video games, in the movies, in the animated series, obviously the Penguin's a very like upstart but pompous, like wannabe rich person, because he comes from a family of royalty and money, but he doesn't have any of that, which is why he resorts to crime. And it's just he always has like women around him. He's like he's very greedy and and lustful, or I guess lecherous, I guess is a better word, but you know what I'm saying. So then to try to have it where like, oh, look at this, he's like feelings for the Riddler, and maybe that's what causes him to get more and more upset and feel isolated. I'm like, it's an interesting take on it. It just didn't work for me, and I feel bad, but I think that's kind of what made me like slowly start to not watch the show, because the Penguin and the Riddler were some of my favorite villains on the show. Like, so that's kind of why I slowly stopped watching it, and eventually it was just cold turkey. I just stopped watching it. But that's why I said I remember really enjoying the show. Let me give it a shot again and just and try to finish it through, or at least get back to where I think it's up to like season 5 now. So I started rewatching season 2 because I think I remember just really enjoying season 1. But I said, let me just jump to season 2 because I think I remember season 2 being like really good. And so far, yeah, season 2 is really good. And just again like rewatching it, and it's all coming back to me. So I'm gonna continue watching it. Hopefully, I'll be able to catch up to the very end of the show and see where it's at. I've heard mixed reviews, like even like beyond like what I think of the show. I've heard like mixed reviews on the later seasons. So we'll see what happens when I keep watching it. And basically, as far as like what I've been watching, it's just that we haven't really watched any like new movies or anything. It's been a very busy week for me, unfortunately. Now, for what I've been playing, I actually have some like good and bad news. The bad news is, well, good / bad news is that we did start, recording for the new Let's Play that I'm doing, and we wanted to revisit the Metroid series. However, I want to give some very bad news, Corey. Although I love playing this game and I want to keep playing it, the very first episode, or I guess like the very first recording we did, the footage was corrupted and I lost it all.
Oh no.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to start over from the beginning, and I feel really bad about it, but it is what it is.
Damn. That's unfortunate. That's out of your control.
And the funny thing is, I didn't know what was wrong because I thought maybe I did like the wrong. I think I did. I thought I did something wrong with the editing, and basically, I just can't recover the sound. Like the visuals are there, and I was thinking, oh, do I really want to like voice over it? Like I'm like, no, like I can't recover the audio. Maybe it was something. Maybe it wasn't. Even, maybe the file's not even corrupted. Maybe it was like a mistake on my end when we were recording. Like maybe I didn't have the audio settings correct, which is funny because I didn't change anything since we were last recording Donkey Kong Country, so I'm not quite sure.
That's strange. Yeah,
maybe it's because I was using a different emulator, or because we were playing Metroid 2 AM2R, which is not like an emulator; it's its own game on a computer. So I don't know. I'll have to figure it out, and I'll basically just have to play the game myself and record it, and just to test the audio settings the next time we do it. So I do apologize for that, Corey. I feel really bad, and for the viewers who were looking forward to it. I think last week we teased how that was going to be the next game I'm playing for the channel.
Well, but I'll just say, we were planning on recording the previous weekend, but unfortunately I had some last minute plans I kind of had to do. But yeah, I mean it's all right. We're still gonna play through it,
Oh yeah. I'm not saying like
now.
Oh yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say is that unfortunately we have to just start from scratch. But it's not like we're just gonna give up on it. It's just I have to make sure I address the audio issues first, and then we'll be good to go.
Right.
So here's some good news though. I will be able to upload some videos pretty soon because I finally found time to go back and continue playing The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. So that was was really exciting. Yeah, nice. And I was very excited because I finally got past for anybody who's watching my previous episode from a few months ago now. Gosh, I had a really sad death when I was playing the game, and I had to restart an entire climb up this giant mountain. So that was pretty discouraging. Yeah. But I got back to where I was, and I'm actually finally at the second dungeon, and so far it's pretty cool. It's like a fire-themed dungeon, basically like a mine. Getting a lot of Goron. I kind of like in Twilight Princess the Goron mines, kind of getting some vibes of that. So it's a pretty cool dungeon. And again, hopefully I'll have the episode up pretty soon. And but yeah, the game's still really fun, and I hope to continue playing that. I haven't had a chance to continue playing the other games that I was playing, which is Doom and Yooka-Laylee. But again, maybe this week or weekend I'll have some time to keep playing them.
Cool.
One game I also do want to get is something that we saw I think in the Nintendo Direct, which was the Capcom arcade thing. It was the collection of arcade games from Capcom, and not all of them are really games I wanted to play. But I remember, and this is kind of like me being very nostalgic. When I was a kid, there was it was one of the hotels that my mom would take me to when we would go to the beach in Wildwood. And this one hotel that we always went to had a little mini arcade, just with a few arcade machines. And one of them, I don't remember what it was, but it was this airplane, helicopter, jet fighter, game where you fly around and you collect power ups and everything. Kind of like a Galaga game, but it was more like you're fighting on a battlefield. I really can't remember it, and I want to say it was. I'm sure if I actually took, if I took 10 seconds to look up the Nintendo Direct announcements, I'm sure I would find it in that list. But basically, it just I remember. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the game from my childhood that I can never find because I can never find the arcade machine anywhere else, and besides that one hotel room or that one hotel. So I can't wait to go and play, or at least go and take a look at it, because I think that arcade game is in that collection. So I'm looking forward to playing that and really reliving my childhood there.
The game that you're thinking of is called Capcom Arcade Stadium, and you can actually go download that now. I think you buy the games piecemeal, or like maybe get like 3 in a bundle or something like that.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if they were all included in this one thing.
Yeah. Well,
on the bright side,
maybe you're right.
Well, I mean, let's say it's the other way around, where you buy them like piecemeal. Then at least I know which one I want to buy, as opposed to me buying all of them. I mean, to be fair, if it was one giant bundle, I would try all the games. Like, like why wouldn't I do that? But yeah, so I'm kind of looking forward to that for some little retro arcade goodness. And yeah, I think that's all I really have for this week, though.
All right. And that is going to move us directly into our last segment of the Level With Me podcast, where we take some questions from you, the listener. That's right. You can send us a question about video games, movies, collectibles, food, you name it. We want to hear about it.
Toppings,
Yeah. You can send us questions by 2 different ways. You can either send us an email at levelwithmepodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to the Level With Me Podcast Instagram. That is Level With Me Podcast, each with an underscore. And then on Monday, we will post a link where you can submit a question. And if we approve of it, which we usually do, you will get a shout out. Mike, do we have any questions this week?
Corey, unfortunately, we do not have any this week.
Bump. No.
You know what? Well, there's obviously an answer why. Everyone's still crying in the corner like I was because there was no Metroid news at the Nintendo Direct.
That's
fair. Yeah, it is. If there were Nintendo news, people would be saying, "Corey, Mike, what do you think? What did you think of that Direct?" Well, technically, that is a nice.
Did you see Samus's new armor?
Don't tease me, Corey. Personally, I was even hoping to get like a question like that, like, "Oh, what you guys think of the Direct?" I mean, obviously, we already kind of voiced our opinions on that, but oh well. Maybe next week we'll get some questions.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, with that being said, that's gonna do it then for the Love With Me podcast. If y'all wanna check this funny guy out, that'd be Game Bro Corey. You pop that in your internet machine. Maybe go on the Twitch, that's a pretty popular one, or Twitter or Instagram.
Except for music.
Yeah, all those stuffs are good. I'm on TikTok too. I haven't made a new TikTok yet, but that's Game Bro Corey. The Twitch is popping. I hope to be doing more streams.
Can't wait to watch.
That. What about you, Mike? What do you got to plug?
Well, if you want to see me, I'll be in the corner listening to Metallica without being, cease and desisted by Twitch. But in all seriousness, if you guys want to find me, you can find me on Instagram and YouTube. That is the Collector's Vault. Again, we'll have all the information linked down below. If you like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, collectible card games, sports memorabilia, just collectibles in general, definitely the channel for you guys. And I try to make jokes every now and again. And or even if you just want to reach out to us, please, send us a message, talk to us on our Instagrams. We love hearing from you guys. We love to chat. We love to make jokes. It's all fun time here over at Level With Me. And don't forget to take a look at our Level With Me YouTube channel, where we do post, where we do post a podcast, as well as Spotify and Podbean and all that. In case you already missed them.
Pandora now.
Yeah. Oh, and Pandora. Oh, goody.
Yeah.
Also, this is where on our YouTube is where you'll find all of our Let's Play uploads. So yeah, a lot of good stuff there. We got Luigi's Mansion. We got some Left 4 Dead, The Last of Us Part 2. We got some Super Mario World. We got some Metroid on there. All kind of games from all different genres. And yeah, back to you, Corey.
I'm very excited for the future Let's Plays. More episodes for No More Heroes. Of course, the beginning of AM2R, and many more goodness. But yeah, it's going to do it for this week's podcast. Hopefully, you guys can enjoy listening to the podcast around the world. Maybe you'll listen to each of our episodes one more time. Who knows? Maybe after you listen to our podcast, you'll get lucky. Mike,
Something.
Next week we're coming back harder, better, faster, stronger.
Something.
See you guys.
I said something.
Robot. Now. Rock.